Now the locking block is something you want to change out every 20, 30,000 rounds. Pretty simple to do. You need a minimum number of tools to do it. Now it feels like you can kind of slide this thing out and get it out of there without punching out the pin. Problem is you really can't, and you're going to wind up getting it wedged in a position that you can really cause yourself a problem. So let's walk you through the proper process to get that done. Now, before we get started, let me say, if you have any questions or you run into a problem or you feel like you're in a space that you don't understand what's happening, contact a gunsmith or the people here at Beretta and maybe even send in your barrel for them to take a look at it. Because you can wind up breaking apart or causing some damage that ultimately will make your gun a big paperweight. So what you're going to need, you're going to want some kind of a block that has some kind of a hole drilled in it. And basically, the idea is you're going to punch a pin through, and you need somewhere for that pin to go while you're supporting the barrel and the locking block. There's a lot of different gunsmithing places like Brownells that sell parts and little blocks that do these types of things. There's a 1911 Benchsmith block that can do the same type of thing. So any type of block that can support the barrel and you can drive the pin through. You're going to need a small punch that can fit neatly through that hole and press the pin all the way through, and a very small light hammer. Now you can do it with a bigger hammer, but just make sure that you're going slow and easy, because if you really start pounding on this thing and you don't have things lined up, you could really damage something. So what you're going to do is right here, the pin here that's pushing the locking block up and down, there's a roll pin that keeps that locked in. And all we want to do is just gently press that roll pin out, and then that frees up the locking block to come out. So I'm going to support the locking block, or excuse me, I'm going to support the locking block and the barrel, and I'm going to put the punch on the roll pin, and I just want to tap it until I started to feel it free up and come out of the barrel. And you'll feel it start to free up and kind of pass through. And there it goes. And I'm just going to pull my punch out, and there's my little roll pin. So now, when I push this back and forth, when I pull the pin out, it frees up the locking block, it's not hinged up, and you can kind of wiggle it out of there. Now you may hit a space where the pin gets frozen up. Best thing to do is just go ahead and pull the pin all the way out. Locking block just drops right out. So now you have just the basic barrel and your locking block. So now that we've punched our pin out, we have this little bitty roll pin that's dropped out. Now from there, the easiest thing to do is just go ahead and pull this pin out, and then the locking block will just slide right out in your hand. Now when you're putting this pin back in, when you put the new locking block in, remember that the slanted side has to go up, because this little cut recess in the pin here, that's where the roll pin goes through. So we'll show you how that works in just a second. So when you get your new locking block, all you're going to do is just set it in the recess space, and it just slides right in. And make sure that this relief cut here lines up with the hole that the pin comes through. It all kind of makes sense when you have everything in your hand. So you're going to put in your new locking block, and remember, when your locking block is up, slanted side, the slant is up, which means the longer portion is down. You're going to put that in, and when you're looking through the hole, as it's pushing the locking block up, you're going to see that there's a little recessed space that's pretty big. And as long as you're in that space, that means you're clear to go ahead and put your roll pin back in. So what you're going to want to do is hold the locking block and the barrel with your finger so it doesn't fall out when you put it in. And then take your roll pin, set it in the hole, and what I like to do is use the flat side of the hammer and just give it a few little taps and get it started. That's going to get it seated, and then I'm going to get my punch. I'm going to put it on the roll pin, and I'm gently going to tap it back in until it's flush on this side. There we go. Now we have our new locking block installed. So make sure to go slow, go easy, don't force anything, and this is not one of those situations where if it doesn't fit, get a bigger hammer. Just go slow and go easy. If you run into any problems, if there's any questions or anything that doesn't make any sense, make sure to contact a gunsmith or call the people here at Beretta. So that's how you swap out your locking block. Hope that helped. For more tips, check us out on Facebook at Beretta USA, Twitter at Beretta_USA, or YouTube at Beretta Community.